It's 6:30 a.m. and you're sitting cross-legged on your meditation cushion, phone timer set for 20 minutes, trying to quiet your mind. Again, the guided meditation app is telling you to simply observe your thoughts without judgment, but your thoughts are doing everything except being simply observed. They're racing through your to-do list, replaying yesterday's awkward conversation, planning tonight's dinner, and simultaneously criticizing you for being such a terrible meditator. You've been at this for months now, maybe years, downloading different apps, trying different techniques, reading books about mindfulness, attending online retreats. You've learned about noting and loving kindness and body scans and breath awareness. You can speak the language fluently, present moment awareness, non-attachment, witness consciousness. You sound enlightened at dinner parties when the conversation turns to wellness and self-care. But here's the thing that's slowly eating away at you. Meditation has become another thing you're failing at. Another performance to perfect. Another area where you're not quite good enough yet. You sit there watching your breathing, and within 30 seconds you're thinking about whether you're breathing correctly, whether your posture is right, whether 20 minutes is enough or if you should be sitting for 30, whether other people's minds are naturally quieter than yours. The meditation teacher says, there's no wrong way to meditate, but your experience tells a different story. There's definitely a wrong way, it's whatever you're doing. Because if you were doing it right, wouldn't you feel more peaceful by now? Wouldn't the anxiety have dissolved? Wouldn't you have achieved that serene, unshakable calm that seems to radiate from all those meditation teachers on Instagram? Instead, you're caught in this exhausting paradox, using effort to achieve effortlessness, striving to stop striving, working really hard at letting go. You're meditating to find peace, but the very act of seeking peace has become another source of agitation. You're like someone frantically searching for their glasses while wearing them, getting more and more frustrated that you can't find what you're looking for, and the cruel irony sits heavy in your chest. You started meditating to escape the relentless pressure of always trying to improve yourself, only to discover that you've turned even meditation into another self-improvement project, complete with progress tracking, performance anxiety, and the familiar weight of not being good enough. Yet, what if everything you've been told about finding peace is keeping you from the peace that's already here? Alan Watts spent years in this exact meditation trap before he discovered something that would revolutionize how he understood the entire spiritual enterprise. In his early days studying Zen Buddhism, he was just as caught up in the effort of achieving enlightenment as any modern meditation app user. He'd sit in lotus position for hours, wrestling with his thoughts, trying to force his mind into the pristine silence he imagined enlightened masters must possess. But Watts had this remarkable ability to step back and observe not just his thoughts, but his entire approach to spirituality with the detached curiosity of an anthropologist. And what he saw was both hilarious and heartbreaking. He was trying to use his mind to escape his mind, using effort to achieve effortlessness, using desire to eliminate desire. It was like trying to lift yourself off the ground by pulling on your own shoelaces. He began to notice that the very act of pursuing peace was what kept peace at arm's length. Every time he sat down to meditate correctly, he was operating from the assumption that something was wrong with his current state of consciousness, that it needed to be improved, purified, or transcended. But this assumption itself was the source of his agitation. This wasn't just Watts' personal discovery. He recognized that Western culture, with its achievement-oriented mindset, had taken the profound simplicity of Eastern meditation practices and turned them into another form of spiritual materialism. We'd imported the techniques but missed the essential understanding. You can't meditate your way to peace because peace isn't a destination. It's what you already are when you stop trying to get somewhere else. Watts saw clearly what millions of modern meditators struggle with daily. We've turned meditation into a method for acquiring a better state of consciousness, the way you might use a tool to acquire a skill. But consciousness isn't something you have, It's something you are. And you can't improve what you are by trying to become something else. He'd often use the analogy of trying to smooth water with your hand. The more effort you apply, the more disturbance you create. But leave the water alone, and it naturally returns to stillness. Your mind, your awareness, your fundamental being has this same quality. It's naturally peaceful. When you stop stirring it up with the effort to make it peaceful. This revelation changed everything for Watts. He realized that meditation wasn't about achieving some special state of consciousness. It was about recognizing the consciousness you already have, the awareness that's already present, the peace that's never actually absent, just temporarily obscured by the very effort to find it. What if the consciousness you're trying to cultivate through meditation is actually the consciousness that's reading these words right now? What if the peace you're seeking is the awareness that's already aware of your seeking? Picture a clear mountain lake in the early morning, before the wind picks up, before the day begins. The surface is so still it becomes a perfect mirror, reflecting the sky and surrounding peaks with absolute clarity. Now imagine someone standing at the shore, desperately trying to make the water clearer. They're stirring it with sticks, adding purification tablets, installing filtration systems, attending workshops on optimal lake clarity techniques. This is precisely what we do when we sit down to meditate. We approach our already clear awareness with an agenda to improve it, to make it more still, more peaceful, more enlightened. But clarity isn't something you add to water. It's what water is when you stop disturbing it. And peace isn't something you add to consciousness. It's what consciousness is when you stop trying to modify it. Alan Watts understood this with startling simplicity. He saw that we'd created an entire industry around achieving what he called natural meditation, as if there were some unnatural version we needed to transcend. But the word natural was key for him. Just as a tree doesn't strain to photosynthesize, or a river doesn't effort its way to the ocean, your consciousness doesn't need to work to be conscious. It simply is. Think about this moment, right now, as you're taking in these words. Notice that you're aware. Not the content of your awareness, not your thoughts, feelings, or sensations, but the awareness itself. That clear, open space in which all experience arises. Did you have to create this awareness? Did you have to meditate it into existence? Or is it simply here, naturally present, the way sky is naturally spacious? This awareness that's reading these words right now, this is what Watts called your original mind. Not original as in first, but original as in authentic, unmanufactured, unconditioned by techniques or practices. It's the consciousness that was present when you were 5 years old, looking up at clouds, completely absorbed in the simple fact of being alive. You weren't meditating then, you were simply being naturally aware, effortlessly present. We've somehow convinced ourselves that this natural awareness got lost somewhere along the way, buried under years of conditioning, stress, and mental chatter. So we sit on cushions trying to excavate it, like archaeologists digging for buried treasure. But Watts would gently point out the absurdity. You're using awareness to search for awareness. You're using the very consciousness you're trying to find to look for consciousness. It's like using a flashlight to search for light in a room that's already illuminated. The light you're seeking is the light you're seeking with. The awareness you're trying to cultivate is the awareness that's already aware of your trying. Consider how of it. We've created a narrator in our heads who's constantly commenting on our experience. This meditation session is going well. Or, my mind is too busy today. Or, I'm not as present as I should be. But who is aware of the narrator? Who notices the mind that says the mind is too busy? Watts called this the witness consciousness, not as something you achieve through practice, but as what you discover you've always been. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are not even your mind. You are the aware space in which all of these experiences appear and disappear, like clouds passing through an endless sky. The sky doesn't meditate to become more sky-like. It doesn't practice being spacious. Spaciousness is its nature. Clouds arise in it, storms move through it, but the sky remains unchanged, untroubled, naturally open. Your awareness has this same quality. Thoughts arise in it, emotions move through it, experiences come and go, but the awareness itself is never disturbed, never needs improvement, never requires technique to be what it already is. But we've been taught to identify with the clouds instead of the sky. We think we are the storm of thoughts and emotions, so we develop elaborate strategies to control the weather. We sit in meditation trying to stop the clouds, create permanent sunshine, achieve the perfect atmospheric conditions. Meanwhile, the sky, your true nature, remains completely unaffected by whatever weather patterns happen to be moving. Through when Watts talked about just sitting, what the Zen masters called shikantaza, he wasn't talking about a meditation technique. He was pointing to the recognition that you are already what you're seeking to become through meditation. Just sitting isn't a practice you do, it's what you are when you stop doing anything else. Right now, without closing your eyes, without changing your posture, without following your breath or repeating a mantra, you are naturally aware. This awareness isn't something you created 5 minutes ago through effort. It's been here all along, as constant, reliable as space itself. The peace you seek through meditation is the peace of this natural awareness, not agitated, not trying to achieve anything, simply present to whatever is happening. We've been taught that meditation is about concentration, focusing the mind on a single object, until you achieve some kind of mental stillness. But Watts recognized that concentration is actually the opposite of natural awareness. When you concentrate, you narrow your attention, exclude most of your experience, and create effort where none is needed. Natural awareness, by contrast, is completely relaxed, open, inclusive of everything without being disturbed by anything. Think of the difference between a laser and sunlight. A laser concentrates light into a narrow, intense beam, very powerful for specific purposes, but utterly artificial. Sunlight, on the other hand, illuminates everything equally, without effort, without discrimination, naturally present and available. Your natural awareness is like sunlight, not the concentrated beam of focused attention, but the effortless illumination that makes all experience possible. This is why so many people find meditation frustrating. They're trying to create a laser when they already have the sun. They're working to achieve a narrow, controlled state of consciousness when their natural awareness is already more vast, more peaceful, and more present than any manufactured mindfulness could ever be. The meditation instructions that tell you to watch your thoughts or observe your breath are pointing towards something true, but they often miss the essential recognition. You are not the one who needs to learn to watch. You are the watching itself. You don't need to practice being aware. Awareness is what you are. When you really understand this, meditation stops being something you do and becomes something you recognize you already are. You don't sit down to achieve peace. You sit down and notice that peace is what's sitting. You don't follow your breath to become present. You recognize that the awareness following the breath is the presence you were seeking. This isn't about becoming a better meditator or achieving deeper states of consciousness. This is about waking up from the dream that you need to become something other than what you already are. Your consciousness right now, reading these words, perhaps filled with thoughts and questions and the ordinary movements of a human mind, this consciousness is not broken. It doesn't need fixing, improving, or transcending. The peace you seek is not hidden beneath your thoughts. It's the open space in which your thoughts appear. The stillness you want is not the absence of movement in your mind. It's the unchanging awareness that remains perfectly still while thoughts and emotions and sensations dance through it. You have been looking for yourself with yourself, seeking your own awareness with the very awareness you're seeking. Like someone who forgets they're wearing glasses and spends the day searching for their glasses. You've been using consciousness to search for consciousness, Peace to find peace. The present moment to arrive at the present moment. The search can end right now. Not because you've achieved something, but because you've recognized what was never actually lost. The meditation you've been practicing to find this recognition. This is just the recognition itself, playing hide and seek with itself, pretending to be lost so it can enjoy the discovery of what it's always been. You are not a person who sometimes meditates. You are meditation itself, temporarily playing the role of someone who needs to practice being what you already are. Here's your permission to stop trying so hard to meditate. Here's your invitation to put down the enormous effort you've been carrying, the exhausting project of trying to achieve what you already are. You can stop working to be present. Presence is what's aware of your working. You can stop striving for peace. Peace is what notices your striving. You can stop seeking consciousness. Consciousness is what's doing the seeking, right now, without changing anything, without improving anything, without becoming more mindful or more aware. You are naturally conscious. This isn't a consciousness you earn through years of practice or a peace you achieve through meditation techniques. This is your original nature, as effortless as space, as natural as breathing, as present as the awareness that's taking in these words right now. Meditation cushion isn't where you go to become aware. It's where you go to remember that you've never actually stopped being aware. The 20 minutes you sit each morning aren't creating consciousness. They're simply creating space for you to notice the consciousness that's always been here. The awareness that was present before you sat down and will remain present after you get up. Watts understood what every frustrated meditator eventually discovers. You cannot use effort to achieve effortlessness. You cannot manufacture naturalness. You cannot practice your way into being what you already are. The peace you seek through meditation isn't somewhere else, waiting to be attained. It's here now, as the very awareness that's aware of wanting peace. This doesn't mean you stop sitting in meditation if that brings you joy. But it means you sit without agenda, without the crushing weight of trying to get somewhere else. You sit the way the sky holds clouds, naturally, effortlessly, without trying to improve them or push them away. You sit as what you are, not as what you're trying to become. The thoughts in your mind aren't obstacles to overcome in meditation. They're just weather patterns moving through the vast sky of your awareness. You don't need to stop them or control them or transcend them any more than the sky needs to stop clouds or control wind. Your natural awareness is completely untroubled by whatever happens to be passing through it. When you really see this, not intellectually, but with the simple recognition of what's already obvious, the whole meditation project dissolves into something much simpler. You realize you're not a person practicing meditation. Your consciousness itself, playing at being someone who needs to practice being conscious. Your peace temporarily pretending to be someone searching for peace. The app on your phone, the cushion in your room, the timer set for 20 minutes. These can all remain if they serve you. But they're no longer tools for achieving something you lack. They're simply props in the gentle game of remembering what you've never actually forgotten. You are not broken awareness that needs fixing. You are not agitated consciousness that requires calming. You are not a restless mind that must be stilled. You are the naturally peaceful awareness in which all of these experiences appear, the unchanging presence that remains perfectly at rest, whether your thoughts are busy or quiet, whether your emotions are turbulent or calm. The meditation you've been practicing to find this truth. This is just this truth, playing with itself, enjoying the game of being temporarily lost so it can experience the joy of being found. You can stop searching now. Not because you've achieved something, but because you've realized you are what you were searching for. The peace you seek is the peace that seeks. The awareness you want to cultivate is the awareness that wants. The presence you're trying to achieve is the presence that's trying. You are already home. You have always been home. Welcome to what you've never actually left.